and we're operating out of Milton in Ontario, Canada, by God's grace. So this evening is going to be very unique. It's going to be very impactful by the grace of God. We have prayed concerning this meeting, and I know that beyond the measure of doubt, that God is going to meet us at the point of our needs for each one of us that is on this meeting today. Our expectation for this meeting is that it's going to be a solution meeting, and that there's going to be a divine delivery for as many of us as are in this meeting in the name of Jesus Christ. Now, without much ado, because I know that our facilitator for today is set and rearing to go, I'm just going to give a brief introduction, not into what he's going to be speaking about, because I don't want to preempt him, but I'm just going to give a brief introduction into who he is. And then when he takes the stage, he can do more justice to that as if he wants to do. So this afternoon, by the grace of God, we're going to be looking at the dynamics of raising the boy child, especially in a time like this, and in a precarious situation in which we have found ourselves, especially as Christian parents, trying to navigate godliness in a society, in a system, in a culture that is becoming every day anti-God and anti-godliness. So we are looking at the dynamics and the principles that would help us in bringing up our boys. The person that is going to help us do that and deliver tailor-made solutions to us today is an anointed facilitator by the grace of God that God himself has called and graced to mentor and raise godly boys as they mature into godly men to the glory of God and for the benefit of the society. So our facilitator, our featured speaker for the month of October in our empowerment meeting is no other person. He's a part of the house. He's a member of the Parenting Plus network, as it were. His name is Ebuka Obika Ede. He's a boys development coach, and he's also the founder of the Save the Boys initiative. He's a graduate of sociology with an MSc in organizational leadership. He has a certificate in non-profit leadership management course from the Lagos Business School. And for over a decade, he has taught boys, teenagers, and youth in a unique, practical, and humorous way to learn personal responsibility and self-leadership. He's also a TEDx speaker and also speaks at youth conferences, seminars, parenting platforms. He offers consultancy services for individuals and families. I know that he ran a youth summer camp some time ago, some months ago, and I'm very glad to inform us that quite a number of parents on our platform here, this Parenting Plus platform, their children were at that summer camp, and the feedback I personally got was very, very inspiring and encouraging. So beyond the measure of doubt, this afternoon, we're in very safe hands. I want to bring to the stage now, to the platform, Coach Ebuka Ede to take the stage and to give us what he has for us where training and mentoring our male children are concerned. Let's give him thumbs up, encouraging with a clap of friend, thumbs up, digital hug, whatever we can as he comes to the stage. Over to you, Coach Ede, you have the floor.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. I don't think anybody's still morning, but if there's anybody, good morning. And then thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much. It's such an honor, speaking in this platform. Thank you. You've been a great blessing, and I really appreciate the great work you are doing with parents. And I really appreciate everyone for coming, for joining, and for having me. I can see a number of parents that I work with their boys. I can see also a number of parents from the Leadership Academy. So glad to have everyone here. All right, like you heard, I'm Ebuka, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria. Greetings from my wife and my family and the boys. They send their greetings. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so today we are going to be talking about raising our boys and how to effectively parent them in the 21st century. And we can't deny the fact that a lot is going on in the world and it's making it more difficult for us to really raise our children. And I'll be specific about the boys. A lot is going on in the world and it's becoming more difficult, messier. We just need God's grace, wisdom, and skill to be able to navigate and save these precious seeds that God has given to us. And we are going to really be going, we're going to learn together tonight, or this afternoon rather. All right, so that's my wife. Greetings from my wife. Next slide, please. Topic today is effectively parenting the 21st century boy child. Okay, let's just go to the next slide. And this is a news that, I've been trending since the beginning of this week. Just to kickstart with that, where we saw the new Superman coming out saying they're coming out as bisexual in an upcoming comic. Really? Wow. And that came with a lot of shock to everyone, especially those of us that are Christians. How? Why? This is going down even to our children. And somebody may ask, the question I keep asking, how do we even really communicate this to our children? How do I tell a 6 years old boy that, Spider-Man is coming out as, how would they be able to understand and comprehend that? And the first thing I remember when I saw this was a case I handled about 3-4 years ago about a boy who was sexually abused by another boyfriend for 5 years. The boy was 8 when this started. How did it start? They were watching a movie, and in that movie, they saw 2 men kissing. They were on holiday, so they were just at home in a neighbor's house. And after watching, they just decided to experiment what they saw in that movie. And that's how they both started having sex for 5 good years. Anna says clear and clean, because I had to intervene in the case. And when the boy came to me, he said, this other boy will not agree if he's not caught in the act. So I had to work to really catch the person in the act. It was horrible. And I just remember that case, and it was a traumatic experience because this boy had been psychologically, emotionally, physiologically deformed. It was a lot of work, and we are still on it. And I just said, wow, these are some of the things we see in our content in the movies. And I'm just wondering, if this is not coming to cartoons, if a boy could see such in a movie and is really struggling today, what now happens if our children have to start seeing this in cartoons? This is just to bring us to the reason why we really need to talk about this, how we need to be strategic and understand the fight that we are in this time. So that is our Superman coming out as gay. Wow. What do we do as Christians? What do we do as parents? Next slide. A few months ago, we saw that breaking news from, UNICEF says any efforts to block children from accessing pornography online might infringe on their human rights. Really? Wow. That is to show us that we're in a war. If bodies that should be protecting and some of these things are coming from people or stakeholders in these areas, one may keep wondering, what does the future hold for our children? I work in the social space, and one of the bashing of things that I've received from even some people in the social space who still say, masturbation is okay, it's cool, pornography is okay, it just helps children to ease their emotion. You shouldn't teach children or boys to, stop pornography and masturbation. Even doctors recommend that it's cool. And they want us to teach that in the social space. You need to share condoms for children in schools, is okay, it's healthy. Instead of STDs, it's better they are protected. So when we keep seeing some of these things, What message are they passing? What do they want us to know and do? Why am I bringing all of this? To help you understand where we are coming from and why we need to be strategic. Because I tell people you cannot fight a battle you are not aware of, and you cannot win a battle you are not prepared for. How prepared are we concerning this coming doom? Next slide, please. I'm sure most of us know Mike Bamiloye. One of his sons posted on Twitter some months ago, and he said a lot of cartoons and family movies these days are teaching children that it's cool to be in a romantic relationship at their age, to be witches and wizards, to be homosexuals, to have demons inside of them and call it superpower, to have alter egos and a dark side. And he said we have work to do. It was shocking to know that a lot of people came on Twitter to tell him, we are cool. What's your problem with that? And that is the world that we are in. A lot of our home movies, teach children it's cool to be in a romantic relationship. Our cartoons, before even this Superman issue came out, we've seen a lot of cartoons that are portraying, homosexuality, that are portraying sex is okay for children. You see those sexual content, even in cartoons. I have clips of some of them. These are cartoons our children go to every day. That is cool to be witches and wizards. Some of these games, some of these cartoons, what does it teach them? Oh, somebody is flying from one place to the other, he's going as a beast and he's killing people, he's drinking blood, and that makes him a Superman. Oh, he has superpower. Oh, somebody is flying from 10-story building. Oh, he disappears to this place, he's just killing people. And these are the things our children see. Do you know what it's teaching them? Oh, it's cool to be a witch and a wizard. It's cool to have demonic powers, and they call it superpowers. These are the things our children watch every day. So our fight is different, and we need to understand it before we can even parent. We need to know the issues or the challenges that are befalling us. That's what our children see. A lot of those cartoons, evil in the name of superpower. How intentional are we? How intentional? Teaching them to be homosexual is cool. To have demon, a lot is going on, and we have work to do. So people may be asking, then what is going on in our generation? The truth is a lot of our children fall within the age bracket of the Gen Zs, the Generation Z, and these are children born between the ages of between 2000 and till date, and a lot of our children, teenagers, children fall into that space. If you have children that are still below 20 years of age. And next slide, please. And this generation, a lot is going on. Most of us are digital migrants. We are just coming in. We are not really born in this generation. We don't even know what is going on. Some of us are millennials. What is really going on with this generation? How can we effectively impact? How can we connect? How can we help them understand the purpose of God as Christian parents? How can we still pass values in the midst of this perversion and darkness? Next slide. And that's what people are asking. What do we do? Who are these Gen Zs? You can see from this slide, this is what they want to do. Fun, music, dance, flex, just move around. School na scam. Let's just have fun. Let's just go to the beach. Let's go clubbing. Oh, the latest shoe. Oh, the latest trend on TikTok, on Instagram. Just fun, 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 fun. That is the language this Generation Z hears. How do we now
Hello, coach. You are freezing. I hope it's not from where. It seems you are frozen from your end.
I'm having sessions, and I said, if you look at this slide, can you hear me? Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. All right. If you look at this slide, you will see a peculiar difference between this generation and the older generation. Okay. You see the older generation, the man has a bald hair, And for him, that is very precious, you know. That is like a glory, like it's something, you know, is really there to him at that time. But the younger generation, they are not even bothered about the hair at the back. They are all concerned about what's in the front, you know. Generation, you know, the hair is at the back and the front is just cleared, you know. It's just a picture to just show you what goes on in the mind of these generations. You know, what we are thinking is totally different from what's on their mind. What do we do? People keep asking, how do we now raise our boys in this kind of perverse generation? What do we do? How do we bridge the gap? How do we ensure that light is sustained with this kind of perversion? As we go ahead, I will take a few. Let's take a test. Let's do a test. Everybody, next slide. I have 10 questions. I'll give you a minute to go through those questions. If you can answer 10 questions, just go to the chat room and type 10. If you can answer all of the questions, let me know how many questions you can answer. If it's 3, if it's 5, if it's 6, if it's 7, just go to the chat room and let me know that yes, I'm aware. I know number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody, let's quickly do this exercise. Do you know the full meaning of LGBTQIP2SAA? Oh my goodness. I hope by next year, I'm sure the letters would have gotten to 100. You know, every day they keep adding. Do you know the Pride Month and what happens then? I'm sure most of you in the Western world, you know a lot about this. Do you know what is nocturnal emission? What does the acronym GNOC as soon as 99 mean when teenagers are sex chatting? Yes, this is, don't answer the question, just know how many. If you can answer 5, just type 5. If you can answer 4, so don't put the answers, just let me know how many you can answer. So if it's 5, type 5. If it's 3, none, just put 0. You know, so I want to see your responses in the chat room. Yeah, I can see. All right, 3. Somebody say 3. Oh, good. 3. Okay, let me see. 9. Oh, I can answer 9. Fantastic. 3. Do you know James Brown? Have you heard about anime? 7. Wonderful. 2, 3. Okay. Do you know about the Shady Bala Bala challenge? Do you know Molly? Do you know any fraud or dating app? Okay, 0. I can see 5. Do you know about the song Soundgazing or I'm Coming, or who sang those? Oh, fantastic. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2. All right, I can see responses. Okay, I'm happy with those people who say they know about 7 of them, and I want to bring one of them to spotlight. Can I have Adeo, please? Can you unmute your mic and please speak to us? Can you answer those questions? Question 1, do you know the full meaning of LGBTQIP2SAA? Is Ade here? Ade, please, can you mute your mic and let's hear you? All right.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon or good evening from Nigeria. Thank you. All right, please go ahead.
Which of the questions do you want me to answer?
From number 1. I want you to answer the 7 that you know, please.
Okay, so for the number 1, I don't know the full.
Okay.
I don't know the last 5, so I would skip that.
Okay.
I know Pride Month. That's the month dedicated to the LGBTQ, I guess, the fourth details.
Very true. All right.
I know the acronym GNOC means to get naked on camera.
Okay. As soon as.
Oh, okay. I don't know as soon as the 99 actually.
Okay. I will get that.
Okay, but I know GNOC means get naked on camera.
Okay.
Anime really is about it's this, I would say, Asian, I think Japanese cartoon that's very dark and it's just a weird one. Number 7, I mean, it's this challenge where girls are literally naked or sparsely dressed, and they're shaking their bum on camera. Molly is a kind of street drug, I believe. Dating app, obviously. And number 10 is a Nigerian song with some really weird lyrics. That's it.
All right. Why did I give you this test? Thank you very much, Ade. You did very well. Thank you. All right. Why am I bringing this exercise? Because as parents in the 21st century, we must be aware of what is going on in the world of our boys. If we can't, if we don't understand what is going on, we can't connect, because you will be speaking a different language. They are in another planet. So most parents are not even aware. LGBTQ, and we still think it stopped at Q. No, it has gone beyond that. LGBT, we all know LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, the other Q. I is intersex, T is pansexual, and then S is two spirits, then A, androgynous and asexual. Every day they just keep adding things. And two spirits, yes, they have to deal with even the demonic, they are diabolic and they can invoke spirit, magical spirit, and all of that. So it's just increasing every day and they're expanding. The Pride Month is a month where it's been celebrated. Most of us in the Western world, we are really aware of that. And Nigerians, we think, oh, it's not happening here. Oh, really? Some schools celebrated the Pride Month. Really, yes, in June. Some schools right here in Abuja. And how was one of my students in the All right, sorry for that. One of my boys during the mentoring session, when I was teaching him about it, he said, what? They celebrated this in my school, in the hostel. I said, was it official? I said, no. He never even knew what that was. He was just hearing it from me for the first time, explaining. So they all celebrated and they were laughing and playing and sharing things, but they never knew what that meant. Now, if we are not, oh, sorry, you can't hear your phone speaker, sorry. If we are not deliberate to understand what is going on and equip our children, ignorance will take them to the world where we don't want them to be. And I was just asking myself, hey, I was even asking him, what happened? Are you sure nothing happened to you? He said, no. And I just said, thank God you told me, because a lot happened in the school that day when they decided to celebrate it. And children who are not aware will be lost in it if we are not having conversations. I'll come to that. What is nocturnal emission? A lot of our boys go through nocturnal emission at puberty, wet dreams, when they wake up and they just see a release of sperm, and a spontaneous release of sperm. It's a natural, it happens naturally. And some boys are even wondering, what is going on with me? Nobody's having sex discussion with them, and they just go to the internet to ask questions, and you need to see the answers that the internet are giving them. Are you aware of the issues your boys are going through during puberty? Are you teaching? Are you guiding? So some parents are even hearing nocturnal emission for the first time. Okay, acronym GNOC means get naked on camera as soon as parents are gone. Are you even aware of these acronyms they use when they are chatting, when they are talking? So that when you even look at it, sometimes we see numbers, but we don't know what is going on with our children. Yes, James Brown, just like Bobrisky, is a major celebrity, is a transgender, even though he claims he's not, and he's making a lot of money and have thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands on Instagram. A lot of our children are following them. And I'll come to that. When we keep having these celebrities, that are men turning to women, and our children are following and seeing, what picture do you think they are seeing? How do you think that is impacting and affecting their mind? And these people are making money doing giveaways in millions, in hundreds of thousands and dollars. How do we communicate to those same boys that, oh, it's not cool to be that? We'll come to that. Anime is an animation app. A lot of children have different animation apps. And one of the things that have been done in those apps in recent time is to have pornography in animation form. A lot of them are grossly involved in it. So you just see them doing animation, not knowing that there are more happening in the background. How intentional are we to watch what our children are seeing? Thank you. Say Bobrisky has 4.1 million followers on Instagram. Thank you. Shady Balabala challenge. This was a challenge that trended on TikTok, and there's a recent one now where they call Small Nyash the Shake Challenge. It's a lot of our children are in it. A very dirty challenge. Very, very dirty challenge. Are we aware? Are we aware? When they are having the videos and they are doing that, do we even know? We just laugh. We don't even know what is going on TikTok. Do you know Molly is a candy? Is a drug-infested candy sold as candy, but it's drugs. And our children buy it and just eat it like candy, but they're just taking drugs. A lot of these things are things that have gone so deep in the world. How intentional are we? There are a lot of fraud and dating apps. I know of Tinder apps, a dating app, a fraud app, a lot of them use Cash Outs, Hangouts on Facebook. I don't want to go into details on how our boys go into fraud through Facebook using a different a picture of people they don't know, especially white people. Some use picture of people in the army. Deep and terrible things going on. Do you know those apps so that even when you see them on the phone, you can identify that this app is strange and I'm aware of what it is. Some of them are hidden under calculator. You just see calculator, but what is inside is a different thing entirely. So most children, what they do with their phones is to use calculators, use calendars to save pornography. So when you see the icon, you just think it's calculator, it's calendar, but there are deeper things behind. Do you have the third eye? In parenting the 21st century boy is a lot of work and spiritual sensitivity. So I'm bringing up these things to help you understand the times, the place that we are in. Soundgasm, I'm coming. Oh, one of the most terrible music I've heard in Nigeria. From Naira Marley singing Sopi. Sopi means masturbation. It's a masturbation song that teaches people masturbation. Even the dance step shows masturbation. Soundgasm was talking about orgasm, how people get orgasm in sex. Very terrible music filled with rottenness, filled with sex, nakedness. So terrible. I'm coming is another music that talks about it. You think it's telling you that I'm come, but it's talking about ejaculation that is coming. And these are the things our children are. Is it Montero, the one that danced with the devil, a naked, a gay? And that is the music trending in parties in our schools. Most of our schools even play them during parties. And the wordings, the lyrics are terrible. If I have the permission, I'll share some of the lyrics on the WhatsApp platform, and you'll be shocked to see some of these things that our children are listening to at this time. How do we now parent? Seeing all of these things, what do we do? Next slide. I'll just, go through what I want to say in the next slide. These are the challenges that our children are facing. Our boys, the challenge of sexuality, pornography. During the pandemic, I handled more cases of pornography between the ages of 8 and 11 for boys. 8 and 11 years. Because of the online learning, what for the pornography industry did was to work with a lot of the gaming companies, and there are a lot of clicks and ads where children go for gaming or go to learn on YouTube, and there was a spike in child pornography. Our children are confused. Our boys are wondering, okay, these people who are transgenders are making money. They are confused. And you're not telling me, oh, don't do this. They're wondering what is going on. These are the challenges that our boys are going through in the 21st century. Challenges of sexuality, sexual perversion, gender-based violence, sex position. What is the mind of an average young boy? Oh, sex position. Oh, this tie. Oh, this place is tie. What's in the mind of an average young boy? Oh, the size of penis. Oh, you need to drink this. Every advert you're seeing. Oh, if it's not big and mighty. Every pornography you're seeing. That is just what they are confused and they're asking questions. What is going on? Body and organ enlargement, oral sex, all manner. That's what we see on the internet, in the music videos, in the movies, and they are being promoted. Our boys are asking, who are we really? Where do we stand in all of this? Next slide. Our boys are confused about the social media. The celebrity lifestyle. The people who are fraudsters are flaunting their cars, their money, and all they've gotten on social media. Next slide. Okay, thank you. Yes, social media. Thank you. That is the slide. Clout chasing celebrity lifestyle. Our boys are confused. What is going on? They are asking questions. Then why are you not asking me to read my book and pass when we see teenagers of 16, 17 years old in millions because they're in fraud? Flaunting it on social media. They are the ones that are being celebrated, giving honor anywhere they are. Our boys are confused. What is actually going on? So I'm going to tell you what you need to do in order to effectively parent. But I'm bringing you to the place where you are seeing the issues, the deep issues we are going through, the deep challenges that our boys are going through. And next is the entries of puberty. Our boys are having a lot of questions during puberty. Most parents are not even aware what boys go through during puberty. Constant erection, sexual urges on the spike, their emotions, there's a lot of mood swings. Today they are happy, the next minute they are sad, they are full of energy, they just want to play. They're having an attention issue. If you understand the stages of puberty and what boys go through at that phase of puberty. A lot of them are asking questions. Why am I having excess erection? Why am I having nocturnal emission? Why am I having wet dreams? Why am I having sexual urges? Nobody's answering those questions. Why am I full of energy? That's why some of your boys, they feel they can jump from from the third or the fourth floor down. They just want to do things that are weird. If somebody's asking a question, you say, thank you. Okay. The host will answer all of your questions. Thank you. You get my contact on all of that. Boys are going through deep issues. Some of the boys in my mentoring session, when I take them through puberty, sometimes it's a course that lasts for 2-3 years. Because it's a phase in their life that they can't even understand why they feel the way they feel. A lot of issues, a lot of questions, a lot of changes. It's a period in life that our body goes through the most change apart from the first year of birth. Boys are asking, what is happening? Fathers are not having sex conversations. They're not telling them what to do when you're having erection, when you're having urges, when you're having crushes. These are the time when their minds are just, going haywire. They want to do everything. They want to act at impulse. It's a natural phenomenon. What are we doing to guide them through that time? The increase of puberty. Next slide. Our boys are asking questions about doctrines. Yes, doctrines. Doctrines. Please, this meeting is for parents of boys. I know most times I have meetings, a lot of boys tend to join. This meeting of things that are just peculiar to parents, please. Thank you. A lot of our boys are having issues with doctrine. The method, the presentation, they're having questions. This church today says not like this. Another one says is like this. Everywhere there are winds of doctrine, they are asking, what is going on? They are confused. They don't know which one to follow. And most of us as parents have not even been strategic and skillful to communicate Jesus, to communicate the gospel in a way that we understand, reflect, and take it deep. They're having questions with doctrines. Because every channel you see, this one is preaching, this one is saying what, and they are confused. These are the challenges that our boys are going through, and they're asking questions. Where do I really stand? Next slide. They're having questions on the trends, on music, money, fashion. Oh, music is horrible. Look at the trend. I don't want to talk about those shows like the Big Brother, where people promote ungodliness, where people promote rottenness, and they go with millions of naira and dollars. Where it's so bad. A show where people publicly have sex, publicly do dirty things, where a married woman will go and have an affair with another person. And the more immoral you are, is as if the more you stay in the house. And these people are being promoted, shown everywhere. Our boys are wondering, why are they the ones having the money when they are the ones immoral? These trends are confusing. The music, every music if you see, if they're not shaking bum bum, the breast is open, something is open that is arousing, it's just nakedness everywhere. On social media, every advert, even when somebody's advertising a pressing iron, you will see a woman that is naked. What is the correlation between a pressing iron and a woman's nakedness? That is show you the kind of world that we are in and the questions that our children are asking. How effective are we communicating? And I'll come to that. Because if we don't, when they go to school, you'll be shocked at what your children will come back with. These are the challenges. This trend, this fashion, this music, they are asking questions. Next slide. These children are confused that the same mommy and daddy who telling me to be calm, to be responsible, to be loving, are having crisis. They are confused. Broken home, disconnection, quarreling, fighting. They are confused. They are asking questions. Oh, my father who is telling me to be responsible, but he's the one coming back home late, is always drunk. My father and my mother who are telling me to be loving, to be obedient, are the ones always fighting. They can't understand why you are asking them to be what you have not modeled. These are the challenges. And I've seen little boys that come to me and say, I don't understand what my father is saying. I can't understand what my mother is saying because they're fighting every day. One of those days I sat down, I saw a boy in church. He was just quiet, seated like somebody who was just dejected and disconnected. And I went to him and said, what's the problem? He didn't talk. I had to skillfully engage him. And he said, you know what he said to me? He said, I can't understand. I can't comprehend what they're saying in church because my mother and my father, who are the pillars of the church, they are separated. I can't understand that. I come every day and I see these people so fervent as ordained workers in the church, and I go back home, I know what I see. He said, that's why I'm confused. Sir, can you help my confusion? I see, I'm confused. I don't get whatever people are saying in church is not entering because the picture I'm seeing in church is different from what I see at home. They're confused. Next slide. How does this impact our boys? They're having identity crisis. A lot of them are depressed. A lot of them are suicidal. Many of them are confused, frustrated, addicted, unfulfilled. A lot of boys I've worked with struggling with drugs. A number of them went to the street because of the vacuum that have been created at home, especially between fathers and sons. This connection, they are looking for that attention. They are disconnected from their father, disconnected from their parents. They're on the street finding answers, finding attention, finding answers to their question. I always tell people, you see drug addicts? Oh, there's one community that I've seen, occultists. They will give you all the love and attention. They will not give you that money, but they can spend the millions on drugs and alcohol. That's where our boys are finding fulfillment. They're confused about who a man should really be. They're like, you're telling me to be responsible where I've not seen a model of a responsible and a loving man? Where my father is the lion of the tribe of our home, how can I model what I have not seen? They're confused. These challenges that are really impacting the minds of our boys. Depression, suicide, the rate of suicide among boys is alarming. Research has shown that more girls attempt the acts, but more boys commit the acts itself. Because the boy that wants to take his life in the next minute, he's just coming out and he's laughing with you, he's waving you, and he's going inside to just take his life. What are we doing? Addiction. When you go to juvenile homes, go to prisons, go to rehabilitation homes, you see young boys, young men with promising future, wasting in the prison, wasting in juvenile home, wasting in rehabilitation home. And some of them will go through this rehabilitation with millions and millions of naira and dollars. They will come out and still remain the same. They will go back to the act. Look at the number of people in our prison, the young men. What are they doing there? There are men who have been disconnected, who are having a vacuum that the society cannot fill, that the father cannot fill. They are confused. Then I have to sit in a, before a boy and he's crying. I say, I hate my father. In my TEDx talk last month, I talked about fathers deprived boys. And I shared a very pathetic story, true life story, of a boy who came back home one of those days and brought his result. He passed, but his father felt he should be number one in the class. And the father insulted him and said, you can never amount to anything in life. You're a failure. Your mother is a failure. And the boy was devastated. And he told me for 5 years, I wanted to prove to my father that I'm a failure. And I made sure I took a failed result for 5 years. That is how dare a boy take the words of his father. Our boys are on the streets. What is going on? We are losing our boys to the world. We are losing our boys to drugs. We are losing a lot of them to all manner of antisocial behaviors. How do we build the leaders, the fathers of tomorrow? And as I round up, I will now tell us, what do we do seeing all these challenges? Next slide. If you remember clearly the Bible, the story of Moses and Jesus, how there was a decree by Herod and Pharaoh to kill every male child. In the time of Moses, we saw it in the time of Jesus. And we are seeing it in our time also. Why was there decree to kill every male child? You should ask yourself, what is the devil fighting or looking for in the life of the male child? Why were they particular about eliminating the male child? Because there's a purpose, there's an agenda that God wants him to fulfill. If the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the people who are supposed to be the fathers, the husband, the leaders, the head of the home tomorrow are in drugs, in all manner of antisocial behavior, what do we expect from such family and then such a society? So the enemy is so strategic, and what he goes to the root to sow tares, to sow weeds, because he knows that when they grow with it, they will keep struggling through life. No wonder we're having a high rate of divorce, broken homes, and we can't deny the fact that most of the issues are coming from men who were not properly groomed, who were not properly trained. There's a lot of expectation over boys that we are not trained. And in our time, we can see the enemy also fighting, looking for the male children, because he knows that when he gets them, he gets the family. When he gets them, he gets the society. And when people complain about the kind of leaders that we have, why are they so hard? Why are they so wicked? Why are they so mean? They are product of their upbringing. That is what they were taught to do. It shows us that if we're intentional to equip, to train, to model empathy, love, and responsibility, society that will bring about the desired results. A lot of our boys are asking questions. How do we now effectively parent, seeing all that we've heard tonight? You must learn, unlearn, and relearn. One thing I tell parents is that the boys in our time, they are totally different from who we were then. I have some fathers who tell me, oh, I'm responsible today because my father broke my head. Look at the marks. Look at the scar. He broke my head. He broke my hand. He used stick to deform me. That's why I'm responsible. If I don't deform my son, if I don't break his head, he won't be responsible. And I say, you that is telling me that you need to break somebody's head in order for him to be responsible, it shows that there's something actually wrong with you that you have not accepted. You must learn. We must unlearn the mindsets that we are coming from. And know that we're in the 21st century, we're in a difficult time. Because the Bible says, where sin abound, much more grace abound. What grace are we leveraging on? What skills, what strategies, what method? Look at the mother of Moses. When he saw that they wanted to eliminate that child, she knew the purpose of God for that child. Look at the strategy. She said, how did that woman even hide that child for months? A newborn baby that will be crying. How did she do? How did she even carry that pregnancy and cover it? How? She knew the purpose of God and she was strategic to save that child. And the one who gave her the idea to put the baby in a basket and put the baby in that water and ask the sister to watch, strategy. Against the Herod, against the Pharaoh that are after our sons, what strategy are you using? What are you learning? How are you unlearning all they've told you in the past? Oh, boys are evil. Oh, boys are troublesome. Oh, boys are wicked. If you have boys, you will not rest. Take those things away. How are we intentional to learn? There are books on boys. I have a lot of books here on boys and men. A lot. There are books on raising boys. How are we learning? How are we learning how to connect in this 21st century? We must learn. We must unlearn and we must relearn. Next slide, please. Let's evolve in our learning. Next slide. Let's evolve in our learning. And the second thing I want to talk about is that we must dismantle limiting beliefs. If we must raise the 21st century boy child, you see all these beliefs that, oh, they told me that boys are very troublesome and wicked. Hey, they said that if I don't open my eyes and show them my red eye, they are going to deal with me. Oh, this is what they told me about boys. And so some people will even tell you, oh, you have 3 boys. Hey, you have entered trouble. You have entered trouble in this world where if you have 3 boys. How are you going to cope? You will die before your time. Oh, 3 boys. Hey, that is trouble. There's a limiting mindset. There's a limiting mindset. Oh, boys are troublesome. Boys will kill you. And that is a mindset you have. And that's how you begin to see your boys as troublesome, full of trouble, people that will kill you. And any little thing they do, you say, they said it. Oh, you want to now display the trouble? Let me show you that I'm more troublesome. What have you heard about boys? What did they tell you? Oh, they're boys. They all were involved in drugs. So, if they wake up and their eyes red, it means something is happening. Oh, what are those limiting beliefs that they've told you about boys? If you are raising your boy with that mindset that he will bring trouble, he's troublesome, they are full of headache. Oh, they say I have boys, I will not have rest. So you will actually not have rest if you believe that. The gift of the Lord maketh rich, and it doesn't add sorrow. You can't believe what the word is saying about boys, and then you begin to relate with your son in such mindset, with such mindsets. And they are looking for when they will do something. When he talks about it, they said it to you, you're talking everywhere. So you're not parenting with fear, like somebody looking for when you will see what they've told me, oh, let me look for it. So you are living with fear. It's a knowledge that is built on fear and tension. And even when the boy is not doing anything, you are looking for something. Where are you coming from? You went to smoke? Who did you talk to? They say when they are 16, they will not start following. Please take those things away. How can God give you something that will trouble you? How can God give you something that will give you headache? How will you be? Suppose who has bewitched you, oh Galatians? Who bewitched you? Why did you start in the spirit and you're ending in the flesh? Those limiting beliefs that say, oh, boys, don't cry. Now, man, keep quiet. Don't cry, don't cry. These are lies. They should express themselves because that boy are telling not to cry or to keep quiet. By the time that boy is 16, 17 and is not talking, you'll be in a serious trouble, in serious mess. Most times we are the one that put our boys in this way of life that God has not designed for them because of what people say about boys. Remove those things, dismantle those beliefs. They are lies from the pit of hell. They are falsehood that have not allowed us to open our hearts when relating with our boys. Take them away. Every child that God has given you is beautiful, is perfect. The gift of the Lord maketh rich. Don't believe what the world is saying about boys. If you have 5 boys, they are not in trouble. If you have 10 boys, they are not in trouble. There's no trouble anywhere. It's a gift from the Lord. You know what that mindset does to you? You are waiting for trouble. Your mind is prepared for trouble. So you are set. Even when there's no trouble, you will see trouble. Take it away. Next slide. We must be skillful. We must be strategic. Let me tell you something. When boys are going through puberty or as adolescents or teenagers, one thing that happens is that they are not used to routine. Routine really gets them sick. one routine, one way, the same method, the same way. Oh, if you want to deal with somebody, let's have one family meeting and let's begin to bash the person and I'm already rounding up. Let's begin to bash. So prepare your questions. We need skills and strategy. The pornography industry are trying to steal our boys. They are not resting. They are strategic. 2 weeks ago, I was with one of my boys in a session. And I was teaching him about pornography and some other ways they lure people. I was showing him some things. And he said, I see these pop-ups when I'm on YouTube, when I'm playing game. I never knew what it meant. I said, that is what it means. They are strategic. Look at the issue of Superman. Strategy. How can they get these young people if you go to cartoons? How can they get them go to games? What strategy are we using as parents? What strategy are we using? How are we combating darkness? How are we combating this darkness in our time? What strategy? How are we? A lot of our boys go to school. One of our teenagers one day went to school, traveled to Barcelona or somewhere, and just 2 weeks after, asking me if God really exists. Does God really exist? What? You know why? He has just been learning theory, no practical. The word of God has not eaten deep inside of him. If you know the number of children I'm mentoring, I'm taking through the process of healing from homosexuality, from drugs, a number of them, their parents find out, they will collapse. As in, they will just collapse. Because I've had cases where a boy is caught masturbating and is sent out of the house. I've had cases where a boy is caught watching pornography and is sent packing out of his room. He will now have to sleep on bare floor and they're watching him through the night. When he's going to the bedroom, the door must be open. Let us see him when he's going in and coming out. What is that? Will you follow him to school? Will you follow him to this class? What is that? Look at the strategy the world is using. Look at the kind of apps coming out. Look at the kind of games. Look at how the world is having conversation. Look at how they are bringing topics on social media. We are not strategic. And if we keep quiet and just watch things go like this, the future is scary. Look at cartoon. How do we explain to a 4-year-old boy that Superman wants to now act as a gay and you shouldn't be gay? How do we explain that? We must be skillful. We must be strategic. All of this we do in our devotion in the morning. It's not this routine devotion every day. Let's worship, opening prayers, one person will just preach one thing and go. And how are you communicating the word of God that is getting deep inside of them? How are we communicating it? How are we teaching in a way that they are getting? In our devotions, there are different strategies every week. These people take character and they own the devotion. They are studying, they are preparing, they are getting things. These people take character, and then we will take a thematic study. I give different topics. Go and study. I have a lot of foster sons living with me. Go and study, then come. And you will see people learning. Their eyes are open. The word is getting deeper. They are discovering the word for themselves. It's interesting. You're looking forward to the session where you will come and share, where you will learn what other person is doing. Sometimes we give books, different books, and every morning you will share. You keep sharing what I learned from that book till you are done. You own it. The word is, and how are we skillful and strategic in passing God, in inculcating the word of God? It's not by family meeting or yelling and screaming and shouting. Strategy. Oh, sorry, the meeting room is full. A lot of people have been saying they can't come in. So sorry. Is Ebuka here? I have one of my sons. Let him even come up. Okay, I think, please let me know how many minutes more I have to finish up. I need to round up.
Yes, sir, I'm here, sir.
Okay, you live, you live in the house with us. How has the word of God been communicated to you in a very simple form? How has that helped you? What strategy are you seeing that is helping you really, really stand, as a young man?
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Ebuka. So recently, I've learned how to study more. Like the Bible has become more interesting, and it has become more of a lifestyle, not just going to church and listening to a preacher, but we've been able to engage into the word because my father, Mr. Ebuka, has taught us how to engage, how to search the Bible for ourselves and know God for ourselves, because he makes it so interesting and it's really creative that we can really go through the Bible and find out new things about God that we never knew was there. And it was in our hands. We carry the Bible every week, week in, week out, but we never knew until he made it so fun to study the Bible. And it has become a really creative way that we can stay as a family and really find out beautiful things about God that we did not know on our own. But because of our Father has made it easier and more creative and more skillful to search the Bible. So it has become a habit and more than just a habit, but it has become a passion to study and look for God. That's how it has been.
Thank you so much for sharing. I see a number of them in the meeting room. Skill, strategy. Oh, this week this. Oh, another week that. How can we make it fun? Our children are learning and they are being equipped. Next slide. We must understand. We must be patient. We must model love and empathy. Are you a parent who is practicing, who is modeling love to your son? Are you saying, oh, read, but you yourself, you're not reading? Are you patient when they're... I tell Christian parents, okay, we say we are Christian, we are learning from Jesus. Jesus took his disciples to the temple, but he also took them fishing. You also went to the riverside to roast fish and eat. John could lean on his shoulder. So Jesus is our perfect example. How are we totally learning him and how he related with his disciples? If we are not skillful, if we are not strategic, look at the prodigal son. How he knew that no matter how bad things were, he could still come back home. It's our home, a safe haven for emotion, where our children, our boys know that no matter what happened, I can return. Not they say, if this thing happened to me, let me rather die. Some say that, let me rather die than return home. Because it's a difficult time. What avenues are we creating for our boys to come back home, no matter how they are beaten on the outside? Next slide. We must connect to correct. We must connect to correct. We must be skillful in engaging them. Sometimes some of these families are not when you sit down and everybody cross leg and you are not saying, oh, who happened to this person? You will die if you don't do it. No. Some of them are in simple meetings. You're taking a walk, you're talking, you're cooking. Oh, come and pound something, come and blend something for me. And you're having conversation. Oh, let's take a ride together. I'm going to the mall to get something. And you're having conversation. Oh, let's go jogging. You're having conversation. Oh, let's go hiking. You're having conversation. In a very simple ways, and we're engaging. Our boys want to talk. They're looking for platforms to talk. Is David here? I have 2 more slides and I'll be done and I'll take your questions. I know you have a lot of questions. David here, the Lapo.
Yes,
is he
yes,
here?
sir.
Okay. Oh, thank you for joining. You're one of my sons that I really connect very, very deeply with. Can you share what you've seen? How have that, what strategy, what skill have you seen that has helped you in really connecting? How has that helped you?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is David Dolako. I'm a son of Mr. Ebuka here. I'm currently a student of the University of Abuja, so I'm currently in school. So I'll just go straight to the point and answer the question I was asked. So I believe that as we grow up as teenagers to when we become men, I'm currently 19 years old, and I can see I have a little age, but I've seen so many things and so many struggles in life as a boy. And if I didn't have someone to open up to, if I didn't have someone to talk to, if I didn't have someone to mentor me, if I didn't have somebody to really tell me what this whole life and trend is all about, I'm very, very sure I wouldn't be where I am today. And I feel like it was patience, because when I first of all knew Mr. Ebuka, I was running away from him. But by that time, I was into smoking and different kind of things you can never imagine. And when I first of all met him, he started talking to me. I was like, who is this person particularly? What do you want from me? And he kept on discussing, he made sure I could be able to confide in him. And it was when I was able to confide in him, I started opening up to him. I started connecting with him. I started telling him that, okay, this is what I'm going through. This is my life. And he started telling me that, okay, yes, this is normal. This is not normal. You're supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this. And I can tell you that has gone a long way. Mr. Ebuka here has so many sons. I mean, so many sons and different kind of relationship with each and every one of us. And I don't know if you can remember, there's this particular son of his that was like, he did something bad and he does not want him to see him. And when he was telling me that day that, okay, this person said he did something bad and he does not want to come back and meet me. And I was like, the relationship you built with this person, I don't know, he has not opened up to you. But as for me personally, there's nothing I do on earth, whether good or bad, even if I carry a knife and kill somebody, now I will still open up to you and tell you that this is what I did because of the kind of person you have been to me. And he has been the kind of person that he has been able to tell me that when I'm relating with him, I'm not relating with somebody that is, okay, yes, he's older than me, but he comes from my shoes. He relates with me like, okay, yes, I've been in this position and this has really, really helped me. This has really, really helped me. I've been able to confide in him. I've been able to see a father in him. And I've, like what he said, I've not only seen him telling me, okay, this is what you should do. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And by the end of the day, I'm asking him doing this particular thing, which I should not do. I've learned secretly, even from the things he has not told me. I've learned practically things I'm supposed to do and things I'm not supposed to do. And I can tell you that if I miss it in life, it is my own fault because there's literally nothing I've not heard. There's literally nothing I've not heard about marriage, about parenting, and I can tell you that my children will earnestly thank God that they have me as a father, and I'll be the best thing that ever happened to my wife. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David, for that. God bless. As I close, I'll take the final slide, which is spiritual sensitivity. And I tell people, sincerely, you can see from when I started from the beginning, we're in a war, we're in a difficult time. If we don't have the third eye, I have my prayer card where I have the names of all my sons. Every night I'm praying over them because what is fighting us is beyond. The Bible calls them spiritual wickedness in high places. The Bible calls them they are beings without bodies. We must be sensitive. We must be prayerful. We must praying. In the night, I go around and I'm laying hands on them. You cannot miss it. No matter how far you've gone, you must return. We are praying. We are declaring. You are speaking over them. One of those nights I was praying, and God told me to call one of my sons. And I was calling him. He wasn't picking up. I kept calling. Holy Spirit said, call him. Call him wherever he is. Now call him. I kept calling throughout the day. He wasn't picking. Somebody wanted to lure him into sexual immorality that day. And when the act was about happening, I called again. I called him, and he said he left the place and told the person, "Stand up, leave now. My father is calling me. He's seeing something." And he ran to me. I said, "Yes." The Holy Spirit said, "You are going to enter into a mess, and I needed to save you." If I was not spiritually sensitive, I would not have been able to get that. And I have several stories and testimonies I can share with you of times when the Holy Spirit said, "Call now. Reach out now." One of my sons say, what they say, most of the time when they see, they're afraid of doing something because they know my call will come in. We are praying because it's siege. It's Bible call it gross darkness. On the internet, it's on cartoon everywhere. How sensitive are we? How are we standing in the gap? I say the enemy cannot take my seed. How are we standing like the mother of Moses? And I'm standing on my watchtower. My boy cannot be lost to drugs, to immorality. My boy cannot be lost. This is a king. This is a leader in the making. Because if they are lost, a whole generation is lost. Jonathan Edwards says, if our boys are not equipped to lead families, then the families of the next generation will have no leaders. Are we aware of the situation? Let me see the last slide. Are we aware of the fight? If you cannot fight a battle you are not aware of, and you cannot win a battle you are not prepared for. How are we equipped? How equipped are we to preserve and protect these precious seeds from the grip of this challenging and evil world? How prepared are we? How are we fighting? How are we resisting? Are we still doing shouting and yelling? It doesn't change anything. Sometimes you shout from today to tomorrow, nothing changes. We are just shouting and shouting. We are not connecting. They are not hearing us. We can't connect. They can't hear our language. You can't even hear theirs. Some parents are not even on social media to know what is going on, to know what their children are watching. They're not even there. To know Some of our children, they're on Facebook with a different name. They have two names, the one you know and the one you don't know. I see a lot of them on Instagram. Two names. The one they will show their parents and the one that their parents don't have, where they do a lot of things. Are we sensitive? Are we engaging? Are we intentional to read, to know how to navigate? If you cannot do it, are you calling for help? Are you looking for mentors and people? I even speak to a single parent, selling mothers. Who is the male model that is showing your boy how to be a man? Some of them are coming from toxic relationship where the father is modeling what a man should not be. What are we doing? And sometimes we blame them. You are not this, you are not that. How can they be what you have not shown them? How can they be a man that they've not shown them how to be a true man? How can they be that man? What are we doing to protect the next generation? What are we doing to preserve our seed? It's a war that has been declared over our children. How intentional are we fighting? I'll leave the rest so that I can take them in question. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll take your questions now.
Hey, hallelujah. Let's give our coach Ebuka a round of applause. Thank you for a very insightful presentation. I have a few questions here, and I'll just I'll try and read them out so that you can answer it. We have a question here that says, how can I make reading the Bible fun for my children?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I shared, we have different ways we have our devotion in the house. This week, we can decide to do a character study. But what we are doing next week, I've told everyone, what is your name? If your name is David, you are going to talk about David. You are going to do a study about David, everything. If your name is Jeremiah, you do that. That's for 1 week. Another week, we may take a book we all read and say we are coming to review Christian books. Another week, we may take, there was a week we did, we talk about sex in the Bible. We talk about pornography. We talk about everything around sexual immorality. Go to the Bible. I give everybody a topic, and they are excited to study, and they will come and share. Another week we did thematic study. So you must be strategic to know how to bring out, creative topics that will make them to go back. Let them own it. Let them discover it for themselves. One thing that's happening is a lot of us are teaching, but they are not getting it for themselves. Let them discover it. So if your son is already a teenager, there's no reason why he shouldn't be leading devotion. You should go and discover. Give topics, share interesting topics, and everybody is coming. And sometimes there's a week I told them I will score everybody, and I want to know who is the best. Everybody is working to you. I was dazed at the scriptures that we are sharing, the insights, the lesson, the revelations that we are bringing out. I was dazed. Why? Because they own it. They are discovering for themselves, and there are different methods, different skills, and different ways that we are learning. So you can devise. Some people have good Bible devotionals that are teenagers or children friendly, but me, I like to be creative, and that has really, really helped to make devotion, to make learning interesting. So you can know what works best for you, but routine, just one routine over and over and over, with time you discover that nothing is really entering. You must be strategic to help them connect with what you are saying. They own it, they learn it for themselves. So that wherever they go, they know that it's the God they have for themselves. That not what my parents told me, but the God I've discovered. Most of the Bibles I have here, I bought them as a teenager. I have like 15 to 20 different translations of the Bible because I started discipleship early. And what we were taught was to discover God for ourselves. So I started buying Bibles. I wanted to know God for myself as a teenager. A lot of the books I have in my library were bought as a teenager, like 18, 17 years ago. And I still have my notes of praying and reading. Why? Because I understood learning and understanding God for myself. And I made deliberate effort to get that. And that's why the Bible says Mary has found the right thing. It can't be taken away from her. She found it. Your boys must found it for themselves. That is what will not be taken away from them.
Okay, Coach. I think a lot of reference to what the examples you have cited are more for like children that are like teenagers. But what I can see from this is like you have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. How do you teach that child? How do you make Bible reading fun? Because a 3-year-old might not even be able to read, so they can't even read the Bible themselves. You know, so in that situation, how do you make, you know, the Bible come alive to children of the, you know, the younger ages that have not started reading, that can't even read the Bible for themselves?
Thank you. That is very key. I have a devotional here that I bought, and it has different categories for children, for teenagers, and for adolescents like that. There are different materials that I've seen. I've seen a lot of parent coaches. For one is even doing pre-order for children devotional. So you can engage, you can get those materials. There are a lot of them for search. Some of them you can get online, soft copy. And then to teach you how to really connect with your children during devotion, how to teach them. A lot of our children just learn the Bible when they go to church in the children's church. But some of us are not skillful in teaching the morning devotion, how to start engaging your children that early to learn. So I would advise that you look for those materials, children devotional, that can help you teach them the Bible early. Let them get it early at that time.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here.
Okay.
Someone says good parenting is challenging. And it says, how can a father manage his hot temper with discipline? I think it was while disciplining his son, his boys in love. So the person is asking, how can a father manage his hot temper, you know, when he's trying to discipline his boys?
That's one of the major things I've seen with being fathers and sons. A lot of fathers are angry, and it just shows how they were parented. A lot of fathers are parenting the way they were parented. And if you're not careful, your son will also grow up to be an angry father who is also dishing it out on their sons. So it just shows that there's something wrong somewhere, maybe the way that father was parented. And if it continues like that, your son will do the same thing. That's how I'll talk about learning, unlearning, and relearning. I have a lot of books here for men you can get on how to learn as a man to build emotional control. And I keep begging men, please, you need to do this, because your son will become a replication of who you are. They will grow up to do the same thing to their wives, to their children, if you don't work on it. And the disconnection I've seen between boys is with their fathers. They can't connect. Always angry, always hitting, always shouting. So there's a problem from the foundation. And I really encourage such men to go, get a therapy, go back and learn. You can, whatever you've learned, you can unlearn. You can go through a process of healing and transformation. I've seen a lot of parent coaches who deal with men, who go through the training for parents, where they walk a journey for a year or two, learning how to manage emotions is very critical. If mothers are here whose husbands are having that issue, I encourage you to engage them to learn. Let them open. One of the issues I've seen working with boys is fathers not being, not opening up, not releasing themselves to be helped. Men always think we know what to do, but we don't really know what to do. And we are seeing the ripple effect of that. Then I'll come to sons. I will not deny the fact that sometimes you've done all you can, but you can see a very stubborn and heavy son. I tell people, and I've seen parents who have high blood pressure who are not sleeping because of a boy who is not listening. And I say, you can't really kill yourself because your child is not listening. If you have done what you need to do, rest and relax and allow God do the work. I've seen parents who are not sleeping. Every night they're awake, they're shaking. I don't know what he's doing now. His room is locked, though. His bedroom is locked. What is happening? They're afraid. They are sick. Oh, my boy is even in school now. They are calling every minute. And where are you now? Are you in the hostel? Oh, where are you outside? I don't know what my son is doing. I've seen people living in a lot of fear. I say, you will not die because of this child. Do your work. Some of the times it's because we've not done our work from the foundation, and we are now beginning to see it when that child is grown. It's not a miracle that it will just change overnight. Take them to coaches, male mentors who will guide them through a journey of healing and rest. You cannot parent from a place of fear. You need a knowledge that will allow you to rest and be calm, because most times fear breeds sicknesses and ailments that are unnecessary. I've seen especially mothers crying, weeping, not sleeping, sick because of children that seems heady. If you do your part, get help and relax and just commit it to God. There's always no matter how far a boy has gone, I've seen boys who have gone terribly far and they came back. Once they're able to see that person they can connect with and tell how they feel and open up to a journey of healing and transformation, they will always return.
Amen. So advice to the men: manage your emotions, especially when you need to discipline your children or correct them. If you realize that your tempers are still hot, it's best to cool down and have a more constructive conversation with your child when you are in a more relaxed situation. Okay, I have another.
I have a private message. Okay, when you want me to read that, I can.
Okay, I have another question here. It says, how do you help teenagers become more organized, clean rooms, organize shoes? And then it says, if a boy is already suppressing his emotions because we told him boys don't cry, how do we now help him to become more emotional?
Thank you very much. Okay, one of the issues boys have at puberty as teenagers, the energy, testosterone, they just want to play. Some of them are disorganized. But let me say this here. This notion that boys' room are dirty rooms is not a good one, is a lie. When you keep thinking and keep saying it, their rooms will actually be dirty. Boys' rooms are not dirty rooms, you know. So during puberty, a lot of teenagers are having this outburst of energy. There can be disorganized. Some boys can stay.
You're frozen. Coach Ebuka, can you hear us? You are frozen. Oh, there.
It seems as if Coach Ebuka is frozen. So let's see. Hopefully we'll get back on. Okay. Are you back? Coach Ebuka, can you hear me?
Right, I'm back. Yes,
okay. You have muted yourself.
Sorry. So some of them, that conditioning that, oh, boys' room must be dirty. You know, so at property, there's a lot of energy. Some boys, when the house is scattered, that's when they feel, oh, there's a man in this house. I like it when it's scattered. Just something in their mind just tell them that everywhere must just be busy.
Okay. Seems we have lost him again. It seems to have frozen up again. Okay. Hopefully we'll get him back on as soon as possible. Hello, Coach Ebuka, are you back?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now? Oh, sorry, I don't know what's happening now, but my network is stable here. All right, so those are intrigues of puberty. Your son needs a coach, or your teenagers, need that person that will guide them through that time. Some of them just want to see things scattered. So if the energy level they're having at that time is natural, and some of them are overwhelmed during that period of puberty, you need to be patient and help them to build emotional control. And when a boy is already having emotional issues, is already closed up, like you said, it's a product of the upbringing. Oh, boys don't cry, boys don't do this. They grow up with that. They need to unlearn. And it takes a professional, a coach, to help them through that journey. One of the things we did at the academy is helping boys build, healthy emotions. Some of them need to go to those trainings, programs, academy, or programs where they can learn. Some of them need personal. Even sometimes they want to hear somebody outside of the family circle. Sometimes you need people outside because they've been hearing you. They need somebody else that will tell them these things. Sometimes you are telling them this, they're not hearing, but when somebody else tells them outside, they get it very fast. So seek professional help. Look for male boy coaches. Look for male mentors that can help your son through that journey. But I've seen boys who have been, emotionally destabilized, really come back. It takes time, but they can come back if somebody takes them through that journey professionally. It's possible.
Okay, I have another question here. It says, all right, how do I manage their social media appetite and who they follow? Could you become about all these influencers?
Okay. A lot of people are asking for my social media handle and contacts. Ebuka_boys coach on Instagram. Ebuka_boys coach on Instagram. Ebuka_ Dolapo or anybody in the house, please help me put that. You get my contact from the convener of the meeting if you need my number. All right. But somebody can put that in the chat room for me. Okay. Social media, like we said, a lot of these celebrities have influence on our boys. And sometimes what they tell them is what they do. As boys begin to grow into puberty, the words of their peers or those celebrities is more important than what their parents are telling them at home. And if you're not skillful to engage them, a lot of us lose them at that phase. So is there a time to now start dosing, to now start monitoring? Some boys call their parents monitoring spirits. So we don't want it to be monitoring spirit. That's why we say if there's no connection, if there's no relationship, that's what is critical. Because for my boys, I know who they follow. I follow them on their handles. I know who they follow. I know what happened. We have conversations. So you cannot really, sometimes it's difficult for you to tell them don't follow this or don't follow that. But we are having conversation about these people. Oh, who is this person? What is this about his life? Do you even know? Sometimes I go to make research about some of these musicians and I come and have conversations with them. When they see by they say, I never knew this person was this, then it's not worth following. So it's conversation, being skillful to bring them to the place of understanding where they know that this is not healthy for me. If we don't bring them to that point, you just say, don't follow this person. They say, okay, we'll fed you. When they leave your presence, they do that. When they go to school, they follow. Some will go and create a different social media account and be following who they want and leave you in that one. They say, Shebi, you want to stay here, you stay here. So it comes from conversation, connection. Some people are not even having LGBT conversation. Some people are not having porn literacy conversation, tech conversation, puberty conversation, crush. I have crush conversation with my boys. Oh, what is happening? Who are you having crush for now? Because it will come. If you think a 15 years of CA boys will not have crush, you're wasting your time. Some parents, when they tell their boy come and tell them, oh, I'm having feeling for this guy. Maybe they're feeling for a game. Holy Ghost fire. From the village, they're following me. You cannot have feeling. I bind that feeling. I cast the feeling. Not feeling for. Why? For somebody who is at puberty, these things are natural. Are you having conversations tonight that, oh, these feelings may come, but this is what you should do? People who don't guide their emotion, this is how they end up. Conversations. Skillful conversations. That's what I've seen that is healthy and helpful. If you bring them to a place where they understand it themselves and you're talking with knowledge, that's the best. They'll say, thank you. Now I know better. And they are doing it out of a personal conviction, not because mommy or daddy said. If we're not skillful to bring our boys to a place where we're having conversations and a place where they will have understanding and not, where it will dawn on them. Like those people in the day of Pentecost, they say, really? Wow. God was here and we knew it not. It dawned on them. The conviction fell on them and they could take that step because they knew it for themselves. Conversations, skillful conversations is healthy. All right, I have a private question. Where you want me to take it, I will take it.
Okay, you can do that now.
Okay, oh my goodness, because I went out and came in, that message had gone. But the person was asking that if husband is not skillful, is having anger issue, is always shouting, and whenever he tells the husband doesn't listen, what will she do? That's what the person was asking. And I've seen a lot of these questions coming in from mothers. My husband is this, my husband is that, and it's affecting relationship with their sons. And I'll tell people, if you're having such issue in your marriage and you've tried, you can get a male coach for your sons that will be teaching them, but you need to work on that in your home, because if your husband doesn't model empathy and love, it will be difficult for that boy to grow up to show love and empathy. And I always say, any knowledge that you have gotten, I say parenting is like marketing. If you have gotten it and your husband is seeing the results, some people, when they know this, they'll go back to the husband. Did you hear what they said today? Did you hear what they said today? You're the one making my children not to be responsible. You, this man, you're the one that, the man will show you that he's a man. So we need to be skillful and knowing that some of these men are coming from a place is their foundation. That is how they were parented. And that's what they know. They don't know any other thing other than force, oppression, yelling and shouting. That is how they were trained. So it takes a lot of time for such a man to be broken and to open his heart up for emotion and attention. I've seen the fathers who say they don't tell their sons I love you because they say it's Western. And boys need affirmation. Boys need attention. Boys want to be led. So if you have a husband like that, you can get a male coach for your son, but at the same time, you need to work. If your husband sees results, No, knowledge should not make us puffed up and say, Bible says your knowledge has self-control. When you have knowledge, how are you marketing it to your husband that is seeing that, there's really results? I can see results in my children. You're not shouting on your husband even in front of your children. You're not saying, you're the one. Some wives are the one that will go to their children. My husband is bad. Your father is bad. He's doing this. You're trying to poison the heart of the boy against his father. And that's the issue we have always seen. Because when I get feedbacks from the sons, it's a different ball game entirely. Because most times the son goes back to the father to tell him what you have said as a mother or as a wife. How are we intentional? Knowing that it's not a war, it's strategy. You're marketing this thing. Is your husband seeing a life? Is he seeing results from what you are seeing? When a man sees results, he will yield. So be strategic, be skillful. If your husband gets it, it's going to be a big one, but he really, really needs to get it if we're strategic. All right. Is there any more question if I say one other thing? Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Coach Ebuka. We are so grateful for the impact, the inspiration, and the awesomeness of this session. In fact, I think it's one of the most awesome sessions we've had on this platform. And interestingly, today, by the grace of God, we broke a record because this meeting is the highest attendance we've had. The meeting room was completely full. We have more than 100 people at a point, and there were people actually waiting in the waiting room to enter in the meeting. So first and foremost, I want to apologize to people that at some point were not able to join the meeting. In the course of the meeting, I was actually getting messages, one or two messages here and there, of people that invited other people. In fact, Pastor Tola Olugbemiga sent me a message and said that the meeting was actually announced in their church somewhere in the United States of Africa, and quite a number of members of our church were in this meeting, and apparently some were waiting to enter and join us. So that's fine. We're going to put the recording on the platform, and as many people as want the recordings is going to be available to them. So we are thankful. We are grateful to God for what has happened here today. Definitely, we are going to have a part 2 because the conversation has to continue. I don't know when, I don't know how soon that is going to be, but definitely there'll be a part 2 of what has occurred here today by the grace of God. Now we have about 10-15 more minutes before we today's session, and then we have.
There's one more question I can take if you permit me.
Yeah, you are going to take it, but before we do that, before you take that question, there is also something I want us to do very quickly. There are men in the house, there are fathers in the house, and I just want to give them 2 minutes to just one or two of them. I'm going to call them now to share their experience of mentoring and godliness, leading their children, leading their sons, and leading their families. I'm going to be calling Pastor Biodun Oyebola. I hope he's still in this meeting. Pastor Biodun Oyebola is the convener of the Iron Men Fellowship, And I want him to come up and speak for 2 minutes very quickly, his experience as a male man, a leader, a mentor to his son, and so on and so forth. After which, very quickly, I will call on Pastor Kayode Akomolafe too to share with us for 2 minutes. Then I saw Pastor Solomon, Center of Life Church. I don't know if you are still on this meeting. If Pastor Solomon is here, we'd like to hear from him for a minute or two. Just share with us, encourage us what your experience has been leading your family. Pastor Biodun Oyebola, over to you. Where are you?
Okay, thank you very much, Reverend Olusoji and Mrs. Olusoji. And my big thank you to Coach Ebuka as well.
Thank you.
Your passion is contagious. And for the last 2 hours, I have been paying attention with, and I'm taking notes too, because you are speaking to the need of the hour. And I hope that you can come back, because what you have done today is just basically rip the bandage off the wound that most people have been ignoring. And for the wound to heal, we must take care of it so that it heals properly. So I hope you can come back and continue this conversation. In fact, next week, our topic in Iron Men kind of mirrors what you talked about today, which is the issue of pornography, escaping the prison of pornography. So I'm hoping that you can come back on this platform at some point to continue what you've started, because I'm telling you, what you've done today is it just opened our eyes to begin that discussion. And I hope and pray that the Lord will bless you and reward you in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. And God bless those boys that you're mentoring. You will not lose your work and labor, the reward for your work and labor of love. I just pray, I wish that we could have many of you in many places all over the world, because you said something very key, that boys are looking for mentors. And that takes me right to the question that Reverend Olusoji asked. How do you mentor your son? I have a 17-year-old son who is preparing for college next year. And I've noticed that my son's personality, for boys, they are very introverted. They don't expose a lot. My daughter is completely different. She opens up, she tells you everything, even when you don't want to know anything. My son rarely volunteers information. So a lot of times you have to be careful where you balance, where you don't want to be too imposing on him and too aggressive in asking questions. But at the same time, you don't want to ignore the obvious as well. One of the things I will mention that has worked for me as a parent is being an example.
Yeah.
There is a scarcity of role models in the Christian church. One thing I know is you cannot give what you don't have. And our children are watching us. You can talk the talk, but if you don't live the talk, you're a fraud. Listen to me. That's why we want godly men. It's not just coming for meetings. It's not just advising your children, taking them to church. How are you a godly man? Because your life itself is a testimony, is an example to your son. Let's stop kidding ourselves. The foundational problem is that parents have abandoned their altar. They've abandoned being examples to their children. They have mortgaged and they have allowed the pastors and other people to do the parenting for them. The reason why God committed the covenant into Abraham's hand was because he knew that it will impress the covenant on his children so that he can effectively pass that covenant to them. So until we become serious-minded in our walk with God, until we become serious-minded as Christian men, living a godly life, being a good husband, going to church, living a godly life, and being an example to our children, we are frauds. And our children know the real thing from the fraud. They know you. They know you. They know what you are outside when people are looking at you and you're saying the right things. And they know who you are as a father. They know who you are as a husband. They know if you're a godly man. So the best example our sons have is us, we men. And if we are failing in that, it is very, very difficult. My son doesn't say much, but when he says a few things and he comes and approaches me, you can tell that he has been observing some things. One of the things I tell him is when we're having a conversation, I say, have you ever seen me do that? Have you seen the way I relate with your mother? Have you seen how I do this and I do that? Have you watched my approach to my job? Have you watched me living a life of integrity? Have you seen me apologize when I get it wrong with you? I'm humble enough to say, son, I did what I said was wrong. What I did was wrong. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Can you extend that kind of humility to your friends, to your mother, to your sister? Are you humble enough to admit when you are wrong? These are the things that are important. So again, this conversation is ongoing. Pastor Reverend, please, thank you very much. Please, you have to bring Coach back. You have to bring him back. You have to.
Powerful. No, he's part of the.
Trust God.
Yes.
They have
Or else.
family already.
Yes, or else we are coming to Abuja to look for you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless
you.
Powerful presentation, submission by Dr. Biodno Yebola. Thank you so much. Pastor Solomon, are you still on the platform? Pastor Solomon, Center of Life Church, I saw you. Where are you? Hello, Pastor Solomon.
I think he has left.
Okay.
I saw him some time ago. I don't see him.
Okay, Pastor Akoms. Pastor Kayode Akomolafe, where are you?
Thank you very much. Coach Ebuka, that was a fantastic presentation. I wouldn't say too much because I already posted some comments in the chat box. But of course, anyone who was a part of last month's meeting will not be surprised because you did some spitting of fire in just 2 minutes, and the rapid fire indicated that you had a lot more stored on your inside. Thank you so much for sharing a lifetime of resources with us. To answer the question that Reverend Olusoji asked, what has my experience been in raising a boy child? Our son is 13 years old. Interestingly, he was a part of this session all through. So I'm sure he's learned a few things. We'll go over the recording together. And there are a few things I won't say because he will hear some of the things that I have coming up, some of the things that God has shared with me lately. Interestingly, Coach Ebuka mentioned some of them, but I'll try not to let the cat out of the bag. My experience and what I have found to be the most powerful tool is the power of example. Power of example. You know, there is something the Americans say that we don't want the world to know us because of the example of our power, but by the power of our example. In other words, we want to be what we preach to the world. If we're saying we believe in peace and we want to be peacekeepers outside, we should keep peace in our country. You know, that's what the Americans say. And I've come to find out that in raising a boy child, there is nothing that is more potent than the openness of your life in front of that male child. Mirroring what you want the child to be. And you see, as a father, nobody can do a better job of raising your son than yourself, except you abdicate that divine responsibility. If you stand in the office of a father the way God has designed and ordained you to do as a man, nobody can do a better job of raising that child than you. The reason why God gave you that child is because he equipped you peculiarly with what it takes to raise that child, because that child is your offspring. That child has your DNA. The Bible says, why did God make them man and woman? Because he desired a godly offspring. So if you fail in that responsibility, what others will do is to step in where you have left a gap. But sincerely, nobody can do a better job than you. So the best thing, the best legacy you can give your boy child, which you can also do with your girl child, is to mirror to them what they ought to be under God. You should be the God that they know. Your life should exemplify everything that God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit represent. Another thing that I have learned in raising a boy child is you need to create a safe space where that child feels free to open up to you. What we say to our son, which we say to our other children, the girls, is telling the truth can never kill you. Even at the risk of losing your life, still tell the truth. And that has helped us in raising them. When they find themselves in difficult situations, they still come to tell us this is what has happened. In fact, with our children, the way it happens is that before we find out that they've done anything, they come to tell us this is what I did. And that just gives us so much peace. As little as breaking a plate, a glass in the house, what we've said to them is, look, we'll replace the plate, but we want to be able to trust you. We want you to be able to come to us and say, oh, I broke this plate. It's another thing when we start getting into, so were you careless or what happened? But you've told us first, and that just takes out the sting of us finding out. And for us, it's not do what I say, it's do what you see me do. And little things as, who left this pair of shoes here? Where do you see me put my shoes? Do you see me throw my shoes around? Do you see me leave the dishes just anywhere? Things as simple as that. And then, of course, my wife will say to them, have you ever had your father shout at me? Have you ever seen him talk down at me? So it is not just what you say to them, is what they see. And then, of course, strategies of communicating with your children and then rewarding them when they do what you have taught them to do. Affirming them, telling them, oh, you did a great job, we're very proud of you. Oh, you mean you came up with this all by yourself? Amazing. And of course, opening up from your own perspective to, for instance, I've said it before, I cry in front of my children. It's not a big deal for me at all. God gave me tear glands for a purpose, and I use them. I've cried in the workplace. I've cried on the streets. I've cried in front of strangers. I had a meeting yesterday here in Canada. I was having a meeting with some clients in Nigeria, and we got talking about a very sensitive issue, which had to do with the mental health of children. And I had to turn my video off and excuse myself because I was crying. Those are the few things I'd like to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Kayode. I just have a common question here that I'll just quickly go through. It says, when a husband doesn't model good behavior and help at all in the house with house chores, how do you train or raise your boys differently so their wives don't go through the same in future? I just want to answer that question. I think what is important is what you are able to do with your children, regardless of what your husband models, in this situation. Now, it's very, very pertinent to know that obviously that your husband that doesn't help with the chores might have been raised not to, do those things. And, some families actually raise their children in such a way that it's the girls that they make do the house chores because they feel, women are the one that will take care of the home. But if you live in the Western world, you know that, even in Nigeria, you find out that you will actually need both the cooperation and the men and the women in order for us to be able to, run the house very well. So what I would advise this mother to do is engage your sons, make it interesting, make it creative for them, to be able to join you to do the house chores. I've encouraged my sons, I have 2 sons and 1 daughter. The sons are the older ones. They do house chores. I go to the store, I buy beef, I buy chicken. My children can clean. My sons can clean chicken. They can do some basic cooking. But it's because I've actually taken time out to actually involve them and engage them. And I've also had the conversation with them that, look, at some point you are going to leave the home, and for some years you might be living by yourself. If you don't learn to do these things for yourself, you are going to be in a fix. Are you going to be going to eat McDonald's or KFC every day of your life? It's not going to happen. So you must be able to, do that. And then interestingly, sometimes when my son cooks in school, when he's away on campus, he will send us pictures of the food he has cooked and, you know, all of that. So have the conversation that, look, it's a skill, you know, learning to cook, learning to take care of the house, doing the chores is a life skill that every individual needs, because we are more productive when we're in a more organized environment. So teach them to be able to do these things for their own personal self, not just because they are feeling like, oh, I'm just doing it to serve mommy. No, it's for their own personal self. And that way it will be, you know, they will be encouraged to do that. So just go ahead and just teach them and motivate them, reward them. When they cook, tell them, okay, this afternoon, oh, we're eating your food. And whatever they cook, you know, I remember when we were growing up, when we started cooking, my father would say, whatever we said before him as his children, he would eat. He would say in Yoruba, and, you know, shoot to it, you know, he will eat the food. I don't know whether he went out again and to eat something more delicious or whatever, but he had those meals, and it was like, you know, encouraging us. So I think you can do the same with your children. I mean, with your boys too. Just have the conversation, encourage them. When they do it, reward them, and, you know, I'm sure it will grow on them. I think that's about the last question I have here. Okay, so I think that's that. We have an invitation here just to encourage each and every one of us to join the Iron Men program next week, Saturday. The topic of our conversation is escaping the prison of pornography. Just as Pastor Ebola has said, it's going to be a time of, you know, eye-opening. You know, it's going to be opening our eyes to see some deep truths. So I want to encourage all the men here today to please join, and I'm sure that you'll be glad you did.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, before we close, please just give us about 5 more minutes of your time before we close and share 1 or 2 announcements with us. Now, today is for the boy child, like I told us in our...
Sorry, Reverend Olusoji, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm not sure. I think Coach Ebuka had one more question, which you asked him to hold on.
Yes, I'll still give him the opportunity to do that. I just want to do this because we still have a lot of people online. We have about 70, almost 80 people still on the call. And I want to do this quickly before Ebuka takes that question. So next month, our meeting, by the grace of God, we are switching gears. And the coming month, we are talking about the girl child by the grace of God. So we are looking at dynamics of raising the girl child. And we have, like we had today too, an expert facilitator. She's an educator. She's a girls coach, and she's the founder of the Body Smart Guide for Girls. I've been in touch with her. Interestingly, she's also in Abuja, Nigeria, just as Ebuka is. I don't know why Abuja is sending us facilitators in this season. So next month, November 20th, third Saturday of the month, is going to be awesome. It's going to be, I mean, there's going to be open heavens over the meeting. I mean, this woman, she's a bomb. You need to listen to her. So mark the dates. We'll send out the invitations in the next 1-2 weeks or thereabout, and we'll begin to pray and prepare for the meeting in Jesus' name. Okay. So Ebuka, please quickly in 1 minute.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. A number of people have sent me personal messages asking that they saw my book here. I think the convener may share more about that. You can get a book we wrote for boys, The Journey into Manhood, a guide for boys. So you get the details of that. Yeah. And then thank you, Ma, for what you said. Like most homes, we tell them to have a schedule for boys. You know, okay, yeah. Like in our home, we have the days they cook. You know your schedule. You are doing this. You are doing these chores today, and all of that. They just know it's a family value, and everybody does it, irrespective of who you are. And that's where they inculcate that value into them. I really like. And just closing to answer that personal question that person sent to me. When something was born, God told his parent not to put a razor on his head, you know, so that there was something that God wanted them to preserve. And I keep asking parents, do they hope our mouths are not those razor that shaves away the purpose of God over our children? We must be careful to preserve that. I think that is key. And fathers are key in actualizing this. And not to make a plea to fathers or mothers, please, let's keep getting back to our husband in a very skillful and strategic way to model and love, empathy, and manhood to our boys. A lot of boys are sexually abused, and that is the question. Somebody's asking of my child who, sodomized. And a lot of boys are sexually abused. I've related with hundreds of boys who keep sharing the stories of abuse to me. And at 16, at 20, they are sexually promiscuous. They can't close their eyes to anything unscared because of the damage that has done. I've handled a case as low as 2 years who was sexually abused, 6 years, 4 years. We've had stories upon stories by house girls, drivers, and more women abuse men than even men abuse men. Let's open our eyes and be sensitive to who we keep around our boys. This is really, really key. And in closing, I really want to appreciate everyone that sent me personal message. Save the Boys Initiative is our name of our organization, and we're doing a lot with boys. Just keep praying for us. It has really been tough. We have gotten threats from LGBT community threatening to kill, rusticate us because we are teaching boys sexual purity against the backdrop of what we hear in some of these social organizations. And just keep praying and upholding us that God will help us to run in this vision. Thousands of boys are being transformed through this vision. I know programs during International Boys Can we have boys connecting from different parts of the world. Boys Academy, our project Reformation starting next year, going to 20 schools to reach out to 5,000 boys. Just keep praying because we know this is the future. And we know that once they get it right, others will also get it right. Be praying for us. In any way you can pray, reach out to us to help what we are doing to save the next generation. Our hearts are open, our minds are open, and we can always keep in touch. Especially for these boys, we are going starting on Wednesday, reaching out to 5,000 boys in 20 schools. We are asking you to please pray that Reformation project will be a success. As we reach out, share materials. Our book that we have written, we are giving all the boys a copy. It's a lot of work and money, and we believe that God that has helped us to start will also help us to finish. We need your prayers. Yes, thank you very much for having me today. A lot more to say, but we know I'm already part of the family. I'll keep having these sessions here. I'll keep talking about these issues. God bless you. Thank you so much.